think you could just walk away from this? Look at me!
Stop, please, it hurts.
Hey, let her go. You're hurting her.
Ma'am, that's enough. Let go now.
Not until she hears me!
Everyone calm down,
Easy,
you're in a
we've got
hospital.
her. Let her breathe.
Don't touch me! Maya's voice trembled as her hospital monitor screamed in rhythm with her heartbeat. The woman in heels stepped closer, eyes cold, hands gloved. "You shouldn't have married him," she whispered. A crash! The tray hit the floor, pills scattering like broken promises. Nurses shouted, alarms blared, and somewhere down the hall, a billionaire's phone began to ring. He didn't know it yet, but that call would expose the ugliest truth of his world and ignite a reckoning no amount of money could stop. If this pulled you in, comment your city below and hit like to keep the stories going. It was a quiet morning at St. Haverly Memorial Hospital, the kind that carried the hum of new life and old secrets. The sterile halls smelled of antiseptic and faint hope. In room 312, Maya Johnson adjusted her hospital gown, one hand resting on the curve of her belly. She was 7 months pregnant, glowing in the soft light that slipped through the blinds. Outside, the world was waking up to business as usual. But for Maya, nothing about this day would be ordinary. Born and raised in the heart of Atlanta, Maya had fought her way through everything life threw at her: racism, poverty, loss. Yet she never let it define her. She was a nurse before she became a patient, a woman who knew how to heal others, but rarely herself. Her life had changed 2 years ago when she met Alexander Kingsley, heir to the Kingsley Empire, a name that moved markets and silenced rooms. Against all odds, their love had defied every barrier. A billionaire white man and a black woman from the South Side, it was never meant to work. But it did until now. As she scrolled through her phone, waiting for Alexander to arrive, she didn't notice the shadow outside her door. A woman stood there, expensive heels clicking softly, perfume sharp as venom. Rebecca, the mistress who once thought she owned Alexander's heart, now glared through the narrow hospital window. Her eyes burned with envy and disbelief. Inside, Maya smiled faintly at a text from Alexander. "On my way. Love you." She didn't know that outside those white walls, jealousy was sharpening its claws. The security cameras caught a glimpse of Rebecca slipping on gloves, her designer bag pressed tight to her side. No alarms, no warnings, just a heartbeat monitor beeping softly, steady and calm, before the storm hit. Something dark was coming for Maya that morning, and by nightfall, the city would never be the same. The air in the hospital corridor shifted, a quiet tension only the observant could feel. Maya's world, so full of fragile joy, was about to fracture. Rebecca moved with a kind of fury that looked calm from a distance. She carried herself like someone who had been wronged, like she was here to take back what she thought belonged to her. The staff assumed she was a visitor. Her designer coat, her poised demeanor, no one questioned her. Privilege often came with invisibility. Maya was adjusting her pillow when the door opened. "Oh, you must be from the nurse's station," she began, her voice warm and trusting. But the woman who entered didn't wear a badge. Her stare was sharp enough to cut through glass. Rebecca's words came out like ice. "You don't belong here." For a second, Maya thought she meant the room. But the venom in her tone said otherwise. It was her race, her presence, her very existence in this life that Rebecca couldn't stand. Maya's heart pounded. "You need to leave," she managed, pressing the call button beside her bed. But before help could arrive, Rebecca's hand lashed out, knocking the tray of prenatal vitamins to the floor. "You think money makes you equal?" Rebecca hissed. "You think he loves you? You're just another—" Her words splintered into chaos as Maya screamed. Nurses rushed in, but not fast enough. Rebecca lunged, shoving the pregnant woman back against the bed rail. The world spun, pain, panic, the sound of a monitor flatlining for a second too long. The nurses pulled her away, restraining her as Maya gasped for air, clutching her stomach. Security arrived moments later, but Rebecca was already shouting, twisting her story. "She attacked me! She threatened me!" The audacity of privilege echoed through the sterile walls. When Alexander arrived minutes later, his face drained of color. His wife lay trembling, a bruise blooming on her arm. The doctors whispered words he could barely process. "We're doing everything we can to keep the baby stable." outside the room. Rebecca's family attorney was already making calls, spinning the story into something unrecognizable. They claimed Maya had been hysterical, aggressive. Hospital security hesitated. She was the wife of a billionaire. Still, Rebecca was a Kingsley name too. Once connected, always protected. The police took statements, but their eyes said everything. To them, Maya was just another woman of color in a messy, rich man's scandal. Her pain, her truth, it was secondary to the wealth that controlled the narrative. Alexander stood in the hallway, fists trembling. For the first time, he saw how deep the rot went, the money, the lies, the system built to protect people like Rebecca and silence women like Maya. When the doctor came out with a solemn expression, Alexander felt his world tilt. The baby's heartbeat was faint, but there. Maya was alive, but barely. That night, as the city lights glowed beyond the hospital glass, Alexander made a promise. Not just to protect Maya, but to destroy anyone who thought her life was worth less because of the color of her skin. The Kingsley Empire had been built on control. But now it would burn for justice. The storm broke 3 days later. Maya lay in recovery, her skin pale, her spirit dim but unbroken. Outside her hospital room, the city pulsed with breaking headlines. Security footage had leaked, the uncut version. Every shove, every cruel word, every second of Rebecca's assault was there, stripped of the lies her lawyers built, and the world was watching. Alexander stood in front of the Kingsley Tower, his name carved in stone above the entrance, and called the press himself. He didn't flinch as cameras flashed. The billionaire who once stayed silent to protect his empire now stood to destroy it. "The woman you saw in that video," he said, voice breaking, "is the mother of my child. And the woman who attacked her thought my money could erase her crime. But not this time." The room fell silent. Reporters held their breath. He announced the termination of every contract tied to Rebecca's family, the freezing of assets, and the public funding of a legal defense trust for victims of racial violence. The same empire that once shielded the privileged has now become a weapon for justice. At that moment, Maya's monitor beeped softly, steady again. The world outside roared with outrage and disbelief, but she only felt peace. For once, truth had a voice louder than money, and it was speaking her name. "Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments." Weeks passed. The city that once whispered about scandal now spoke about courage. Maya walked out of the hospital with her baby in her arms, small, fragile, but alive. The world had turned its gaze toward her, yet all she wanted was peace. She had survived more than an attack. She had survived a system built to doubt her pain. Alexander stayed by her side, no longer the man who hid behind wealth or family legacy. He sold off divisions of the Kingsley Empire, those that thrived on exploitation and silence, and redirected billions into justice initiatives, hospitals, and minority-led startups. His power was no longer a shield for privilege, but a sword for change. Rebecca faced trial, stripped of her glamour, her entitlement replaced with cold reality. For once, the world saw her for what she was, not a victim, but a symbol of the arrogance that comes from believing power outweighs humanity. But the true victory wasn't in the courtroom. It was in the quiet. In every black woman who saw Maya's story and realized she mattered, that her pain could shake cities, that her resilience could rewrite headlines. Maya didn't seek revenge. She became a reminder that love can survive hate, that justice isn't charity, it's responsibility. And as the news cycle faded, one question remained echoing in the hearts of millions. How many more stories like Maya's must unfold before equality stops being a fight and starts being a given? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories that matter.